The Canon EF-m 22mm Pancake lens. Is this the best choice of lenses for your Canon mirrorless camera? Now the 22mm Pancake lens is one of only a few lenses available for Canon mirrorless cameras. They retail new at £200, but you can pick them up secondhand for around £100 to £140. Now it has a really interesting aesthetic. It's in fact tiny. It's 7 by 9 centimeters and weighs practically nothing. On the front of your mirrorless camera, it actually looks like a perfect fit. You've got a tiny portable camera and a tiny portable lens to go with it. Now bear in mind, these are only for Canon mirrorless cameras, the EOS M range of cameras. They will not fit on DSLRs, although they are still for APS-C sized sensors. So don't think about getting this tiny little lens on the front of your Canon 80D. It just won't fit, which is kind of a shame because I can imagine this would be really interesting on those bigger DSLRs. Now it is a 22mm lens for an APS-C size sensor, so that means you're getting an equivalent of 35mm, so slap bang in the middle of what is considered a close focal range. It has a maximum aperture of f2, so it is super quick. For something that has such a tiny front element, it's almost surprising that you can get that much light inside of the lens. It means it's ideal for indoor and nighttime shooting, and also will allow for an amount of out of focus bokeh behind your main subject. It also works off Canon's STM autofocus motor, which is, as Canon quote, a nearly silent motor, which is in use practically quite a quick autofocus. So with that, let's look at the good bits of this Canon Pancake lens. Straight out of the box, the first thing you'll notice is its size, and that really is a good feature. It is apparently the smallest lens that Canon still retail. As I said earlier, it's 7 by 9 centimeters, absolutely tiny. It is designed for Canon's mirrorless cameras, which are palm-sized, portable. They're for video makers that want to have something to carry around with them. And this pancaked lens is ideal for that. It's in fact small enough to mean that on the body itself, you could still put the camera in your pocket. The STM autofocus motor is really good in the lens. It's actually surprisingly quick for an STM lens. When in manual, the focus ring itself is really responsive too, but I think the best feature about the STM motor in general for video is the fact that it's so quiet when in operation. You won't hear it at all with on-body or in-body microphones. The picture quality from the lens is really good. It's very sharp in the center. You only start to get softness when you start looking at the far corners, which again is essential when you're looking at a lens like this. And finally, in the good bits is that fast aperture. f2 is phenomenal for a lens that's got a front element that's that small. It means it's really just incredibly versatile for video, for nighttime shooting, for indoor shooting, or for making sure the context of your shot is out of focus and the subject is in. It's really good for that. So having an f2 aperture on a lens this small and this affordable is pretty incredible. So with that, let's look at the bad points of this Pancake lens. Now the worst part of this lens is the fact that it has no image stabilization in it at all. And considering it's for the Canon mirrorless cameras, which have no in-body stabilization themselves, when you're using this lens handheld for video, you will notice quite a lot of shake in the shot. The other lenses in the range, even the 18 to 55 kit, has some kind of image stabilization, meaning it will smooth out some of those shakes. It really is a down point of this, especially as it's going to be used for video in a handheld fashion. You're just going to have to deal with either sorting it out in post or just having slightly shakier shots. It has a bizarre 43mm thread on the front. Now this is getting a little geeky and a little technical, I know. That just means lens filters are harder to find. It's an odd size for it. It also does have a lens hood available for it, which is around 3 centimeters long. It is literally the most pointless lens hood you'll ever see. It does nothing to block out any kind of sunlight or direct light at all because it's so tiny. And finally, the bokeh, the outer focus kind of blur that you get behind your in-focus subject isn't the most beautiful. At times it can look a little busy. It doesn't have that nice kind of creamy uniform that you get with something like an L series lens. It is a little swirly and a little confused to look at. But then we are looking at a relatively cheap lens that is 35mm. This isn't for B-roll, this is for filming your subject in an incidental way and in a quick fashion, because it's for a portable camera and it is a portable lens. So it seems harsh to put that in the bad features, but it's definitely worth noting if you're considering adding this lens to your kit. So overall, it's a great portable lens. It's the perfect match in many respects to your Canon mirrorless camera. It is far from perfect, but then so is the Canon mirrorless range in general. It is for, we believe, your first timers, your entry level, your beginner filmmakers, the people that are looking to start a YouTube channel or probably vlogging, because that whole setup now, that little mirrorless camera and this tiny Pancake lens is extremely portable and extremely affordable, meaning the whole range is really accessible. So for that, it is probably the best first choice of lens for your Canon mirrorless camera. So that's been my grab and go review of the Canon EF-m 22mm Pancake lens. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.